Welcome to the Insight Drop, short segments to fuel your growth, sharpen your strategy, and challenge the status quo. This is Beyond Tradition.
Is the importance of financial literacy.
Yes, our topic, because we all go into entrepreneurship with an idea of what we want to do and not having the knowledge to actually achieve it in a financial situations or
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Across the board, across the United States, there is a lack of financial
it's
literacy.
one of my passion projects.
Right.
So for sure, I love teaching entrepreneurs the nitty-gritty of the financial part of things.
The financial part is huge.
It
I mean,
is.
it's honestly, what makes or breaks it.
For sure. So I have created a book to help people with financial literacy and to understand the financial aspect and having a fulfilling and prosperous life. And then I've also created a journal, like a self-guiding journal that will teach you how to map out your financial situation between budgeting and goal setting and really, like the first basic steps of gaining control of your money, basically. Yeah.
And money is a sore subject for a lot of people.
It is. It's very uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially the more that I talk to people, and I'll throw out there that I have I've created these 2 resources, and it's crazy how many people that you think they have
everything together.
Yeah. All of it together. And then they're like, oh no, I would love a copy of this.
Yeah.
I need help with my finances. Yeah. I'll help people basically get it together.
And we are going to utilize you. Loft and Plumbing.
Yes, for sure.
And part of our, I should say, package that we offer our employees is we do partner with a wealth advisor.
Which is great. Oh yeah, for sure. Because they're the ones that set up like the 401ks and I don't do any of that.
Right.
That's a specialty. And I just guide people and working. Again, we're both in construction. So most construction employees work, 50 plus hours a week. So they're pulling in some really great money. And for them to come back on Monday and say that they're broke after they had their paycheck on Friday, it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, it would be great to help them get into a better financial state, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's just lack of education.
It truly is. And then there's also the shame that surrounds it. So then there's a lack of initiative. To take that step, to learn, to address it. And it's really hard sometimes to bring yourself to address those things and to have those conversations.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. My broker, I met with him. And again, we had no family, no friends here, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And I was not about to cold call to get business for real estate.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me, Shelby, you need to be in every group possible. Period. You need to be out meeting people. Networking.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a tall glass.
I would have never thought of networking before, but he said that. He goes, get on, I think, what is it? Meetup is the app.
Yeah.
I started there.
Yeah.
Joined every networking group. And at one point I was networking 5 times a week.
That's incredible.
So it was like working 40 hours, networking at night, almost every night, all the events.
Yeah.
And then showing houses on the weekend and working that in when I could.
That's called grinding.
All of this led me to working myself to the bone like that. And that is good. I think there is a place for working hard like that.
Yeah.
I don't think you can come from zero to what we're doing now without a level of dedication and work.
For
and
sure.
Hustle.
For sure. Balance.
It was anxiety driven.
Yeah.
Money driven for a long time. But I do think there's empowerment in knowledge. And that's why I think there's a huge value in what you're bringing to the table. And that's kind of why I'm going to force it. Like, we're not going to, this isn't going to be optional. We're going to close for half a day.
Yeah.
And my guys are going to go in and we're going to teach them. Because unfortunately it's not standard knowledge for everyone. So.
It's not. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's standard knowledge for any. If you're not taught it at home, I don't think or if you're at a really great work environment where they're going to teach you these things. I don't necessarily think it's taught
Mm.
things. I feel like I learn something new every single day where I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, or a better way to do something, or
Mhm.
it's a continuous growth
Yeah.
no matter what. And I think that goes across any industry
Yeah.
because everything is ever changing. Everything.
Agreed. I will
So-
say, in talking about kind of the financial literacy for spouses, for us, it was not taught in our homes. And
Yeah.
we had to overcome limited belief systems.
Mhm.
We had to overcome the lack of knowledge.
Well, because your home environment affects you, how you were,
Yeah.
how you were raised and what you were introduced to.
Mhm.
You know, it's a lot of either not knowing or being told that no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Type of.
And
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And I will say
Mhm.
overcoming naysayers. But that money is a huge relationship strain for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like isn't that one of the main reasons
It is.
people split?
Add in normal relationships have an issue with money.
Yeah.
Let's add that layer now of entrepreneurship
Yeah, exactly.
to that.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's not just now your personal finances.
Yeah.
Now you may be good. Case in point, you may be a really great plumber. You do not know a damn thing about a P&L.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well,
Right.
that's what, again, I've run into a lot of contractors. They are excellent at their work.
Mhm.
Excellent. I mean, again, I just sat with a pool contractor and his work is absolutely gorgeous. And then you look through everything and he's like, well, I didn't know that was this. And I'm just like, okay. I was like, but how have you been tracking? How do you know if you're making money? How do you know? He goes, oh, well, I mean, I just kind of, what did he say? He said something like, I just kind of guess. And like, I know, he's like, I know I'm doing well.
Yeah, you're doing well enough to have money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
There's money in the
Yes.
bank. So like to a lot of contractors, well, there's money in the bank. So I'm fine. And that's again, you can run your business like that.
You
But if
can.
you want to grow and
Yes.
eventually, have something maybe a little bit bigger, you have to grab it
Yeah.
by the horns and you have to really take a moment. And it's not, a lot of people don't like the back end
Mm-mm.
of you. Again, I know.
Listen.
This is a lot of people don't like it. And it's a lot of things they're just like, I just don't want to do this.
I don't.
And
Okay.
so,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I know.
I think it's sustainability too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Woo! I'm 0 still. I'm doing so well.
The sustainability of a company is really reliant on your profit margin.
Yeah.
And you talk about that pool contractor not knowing.
Yeah.
So Trev was, I formed the LLC, the operating agreements, set up the one thing we did right was we set up QuickBooks immediately. And
Yes.
that's what we invoiced and
Yeah.
ran payments
And
through.
QuickBooks is great. It has so many tutorials.
Mhm.
It'll teach you how to do stuff. You just
Exactly.
have to take a moment.
Yes.
Contractors don't like taking moments.
No. And the other thing that I made sure we have one business bank account.
Yep.
And we had one credit card for the business.
Yeah.
And there was no commingling of funds.
It's literally the first thing I have to sit with contractors about. And I'm just like, you got to split.
You got to split it up.
There's
no
your
way.
business isn't your personal account.
Yeah. No.
So-
And that's been the biggest,
Mhm.
I guess, help was we started that way. Because I knew doing the accounting and the taxes at the end of the year was going to be hellacious if I did not have that separated out.
For sure.
Again,
or you're going to end up paying your CPA $20,000 at the end of the
Gosh,
year.
yeah.
And because they're going to end up having to separate everything, or it's going to take them 3 times as long to go through and decide what was for the business, what was for personal. And then,
oh my goodness.
yeah. So
It's
either
a
you're going to
nightmare.
pay for it either way.
Yeah. Just do the work up
Yeah.
front. I
Yeah.
would think that'd be my number one thing for
Yep.
entrepreneurs. Set that bank account up. For us, we run all of our expenses through a credit card because we get travel points.
Well, you get all the points. You can use
Yeah.
them for anything at
Yeah.
this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And the key is pay that off. So, but
every
you can't,
month,
you
every month,
every
pay-
month, and
every
you
month
cannot
that
pay it off unless you're invoicing, unless you're getting paid
Mhm.
properly, unless you're profitable.
Yes. It's so common with contractors because, again, they see
Yeah.
the problem. They know what it's going to take to fix
Right.
the problem. And they can just kind of be like, oh,
Yeah.
price it out with parts, labor,
Yeah.
equipment, and
Done.
but then if you ask them, like, how much are you charging?
Yeah.
to do this? And they're like, well, I don't know. It's in this lump sum. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
no, I need a breakdown so
Right.
we can put something together so we can, again, grow. And if you
Grow,
want to grow,
sustain.
if you want to grow, you have to have the basics in place.
Yeah. And I think, again, the basics, even I'm still learning, but, you know, it became, what's our overhead? What's our fixed? What's our variable? What's my tech burden rate? How many hours? What's our flag rate? So it really, you get into that. And now I can say, like, our break even, we're at $150 an hour.
Okay. Yeah.
And a lot of, there's still that, like, mindset that plumbers are $100 an hour. And I'm like, sorry, to run a business here. And obviously in our case, and you can speak on this too, probably, there's at least some working knowledge of that. Yeah. But I think the big disconnect happens when you have an entrepreneur running it and then a spouse that's not involved. And so, you know, in the business or in the P&Ls. And that's kind of what, again, the focus is, the financial literacy for spouses, not just in personal finance, but in also the business finances.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think having your spouse involved, if they want to be first, let's put that out there. I have met spouses that want nothing to do with their husband's contracting business.
That's fair.
There's a few of them out there where they're just like, I think he has an excavator. And I'm like, okay, good. I was like, that's fine.
Listen,
if you don't have an interest, this podcast would be fun to listen to for you. And it'll give you a lot of information that you probably don't want.
Yeah. So I think though, there's a level of, though, a protection. I understand not wanting it if you have your own gig, if you haven't lost your earning power.
For sure.
Cool.
For sure. Yes.
Have that stance.
Yes.
But for a lot of people, having the knowledge of at least knowing like what a P&L looks like.
I agree, for anybody, you know, and even if you're not the entrepreneur and you're the spouse that's not interested, I think you should have some sort of, again, literacy in it so you understand something that's going on. Yeah. And so you're not, God forbid, ever completely blindsided, or, you know what I mean?
You know, there are people out there that don't care or don't have the worry, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like there's, again, the empowerment side of it, but there's also kind of protecting. I don't want to say you want to protect yourself and be adversarial with your partner. That's not what we're advocating for at all.
No,
but I do think a certain level of involvement, understanding the P&L. I think if you only know the P&L, if you can only see,
if you could only truly understand what's going on in it, which again, QuickBooks breaks it. It's beautiful. It's so easy to understand. I mean, if the person entering is putting everything where it's supposed to be. Right. You know, we run into those problems, which again, it is
not
confusing.
Waiting until the end of the year to get it done.
Yes, it can be.
Guilty of that.
It can be very overwhelming. But again, I'm a big advocate. QuickBooks has a lot of,
it's really great,
tutorials to P&L. And if you don't know what a P&L is, because it's a profit and loss statement. Yes. So, and it goes over basically the health of your business. Is kind of what I call it. You know, when I come into a business, I kind of ask them, like, let me see your P&L and let's see, you know, where you're at, what you're doing, and where, if there is a problem. I'm not saying that there's always a problem, you know what I mean? But just to see where you're at so I can help.
Yeah. I think, again, we all, being married to our spouses, entrepreneurs or not, we want to hope for the best, right?
Oh, for sure. You have as a spouse, you have full faith in your partner.
At the very minimum, you're looking at that P&L at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then you've got an idea. I guess passion for me is take care of yourself financially while you're in it on good terms. Like, have these conversations, set yourself up for success, because we've seen so many people ruined financially after a divorce.
100%.
And then you add that level of entrepreneurship in there, and it's even worse.
Again, relationships are tricky, and it's a lot of balancing, and it's a lot of figuring out what each partner's willing to either sacrifice or grind through.
Absolutely.
Basically. All right, back to a couple more financial literacy terms, because we're running out of time. So, of
course,
I know. Anyway, so a profit and loss statement, again, it's like the health of the company. It goes over
revenue.
Yeah, revenue, your expenses,
Costs.
exactly.
Yes.
Like costs, keep it easy.
Mhm.
You know, what money's coming in and what money's going out.
Right.
So that's basically
P&L.
Yeah.
And then you'll have your net. And then there's a net at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Net. Balance sheet. To be honest, the balance sheet is good. The P&L is my like.
Yeah, the balance sheet, I think, is what I've at least through my experience, I'm sure there's lots of ways for it. Again, I know enough and I'm not, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I am not a CPA. So,
Right.
a balance sheet I definitely think is used for more of like lending purposes.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Here's
And
our balances.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And I noticed when I was buying equipment for the company
Yeah.
or, you know, taking out loans or whatever, they always asked for the balance sheet,
Yeah.
you know, or for bonding, insurance. Like they want to see that because again, your profit loss is the overall, your balance sheet is kind of a little bit, in it.
Yeah. I think the other thing too would be an asset list, but that's kind of niche to our
construction industry. I think everybody needs to have an asset list. And the only thing that I have learned, like you're learning it right now,
Yeah.
we learn it the hard way. You don't think about it. You know, like you have your assets in QuickBooks that have loans on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Depreciation and all that
Yep,
fun stuff.
exactly. And then some of the bigger stuff you'll put in there for depreciation, but usually, you know what I mean? It's the bigger things.
Again,
Yeah.
confidence comes from knowledge.
For
Knowledge comes from facing your situation.
Until, I mean, even when you get to a financially secure situation, I
still
feel
are
like
doing it.
you're still going to be doing it because once you have that, you're never going to want to get rid of it. Like everybody.
Beyond tradition.
Yep.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.